Hello, my name is Julie MacLeod, and this is part 2 of 3 for my audiovisual project for CLT1100 with Professor Sinead McKenna at the University of Ottawa. So part 2 of my project, I'm going to talk about the actual crossing of the ship Hector. So the U.S. ship was not in perfect condition to start with. It was carrying more people than it should have been and encountered bad weather off of what is now known as Newfoundland. But I'm going to break down the voyage a bit more. So in the beginning, the conditions were actually really good on the ship. The ship maintained a speed of 5 or 6 knots, the weather gave them no hassle, and everyone was receiving their fair share of Scotch water and bread and everything else that they had brought along, some smoked fish, and it was actually quite nice compared to what they were used to living with in Scotland. So the women on board would usually help the chef, because there's approximately 200 people, and they took turns, which they absolutely loved. During the day, everybody would gather on the deck because in the hull of the ship it was quite stinky because of all the people that were living down there, and they would socialize. One passenger, his name was John McKay, even brought his pipes along and would often play songs for the people on board. Women would gossip and dream about the life that lay ahead of them and talk about things they were worried about, what they were excited about. One of the most common things they talked about was the Aboriginals. They had heard that these were fierce, meat-eating people that were really quite uncivil. And while the women did that, the men would try fishing over the side of the boat, and once in a while they would catch halibut and eat it for dinner. So very soon the passengers on board became sick, and the nights became almost impossible to navigate due to the fog and high winds that were blowing over the Atlantic at this time of year. You have to remember they were encountering what we now know as hurricane season. So the seasickness soon wore off for most of the passengers, but they encountered a bigger problem that had developed in the cramped living spaces of the hull of the Hector. Smallpox and dysentery had broke out among the children, and mainly due to the poor hygiene, cramped living spaces, and lack of proper nutrition they were receiving aboard the ship. In total, 18 children aboard the ship died, and one adult, Christina MacLeod, died shortly after the ship arrived in Pictou Harbor. Her husband, Hugh MacLeod, carried her body from the ship to the shore, and she was the first Hector passenger to be buried, because the children could not be kept on board who had died, so they had to throw them over the edge. The mother and daughter, who were originally thought to have brought the outbreak of smallpox onto the ship, made a full recovery and lived out long lives in Pictou County, ironically enough. Just off the coast of Newfoundland, so approximately around what we know as the Grand Banks, the ship did encounter a hurricane that blew them 2 weeks off course. It blew them to the north, but most of the passengers thought it blew them to the east. So they had believed that they had been blown back towards Scotland. So they begged the captain, Captain Spears, to take them back, but he refused and turned the boat southwestern towards New Scotland. By this time, many aboard had prepared for death and started singing prayers and hymns because they believed they would never make it. Finally, on September 15th, the ship Hector anchored in Pictou Harbor. The men of the ship donned their kilts and pipes were played to celebrate the end of the crossing from hell. But unfortunately, when they arrived, they were not greeted by what they thought was going to be there. That was part 2 of 3 of my audiovisual project for Sinead McKenna for CLT1100. Thank you.